F9, or Fast and Furious 9, was directed by Justin Lin, and this is the first Fast and Furious movie that he's directed since Fast and Furious 6. And the ones that he did direct was Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious, which is Fast and Furious 4, Fast 5, and, like I mentioned before, Fast and Furious 6. This may be the one Fast and the Furious movie where I'm almost convinced that they were trying to make a Saturday morning cartoon. And it may be unintentionally, but that's almost how I can view this movie, because when it comes to the film's action sequences, which I'll discuss later in the video, and if you have seen the movie and you're probably thinking the same thing, you're like, yes, with the way that they're executing these sequences, it's 100% a Saturday morning cartoon, and I almost have no choice but to love it, because I was just bursting out in laughter in certain scenes, because it's so hilarious that I was definitely having a good time while watching those action sequences, because I was just like, good God, they actually went there. And I love it. I really love it. So in this film, Dominic Toretto and his team have to go up against his younger brother Jacob, played by John Cena, and stop him from using a device called Ares that can hack into any computer system on the planet, and so he can use it to start his own world order. When it comes to the Fast and the Furious movies, there's a lot of them that I like and some that I don't like. When I first got into this franchise, when I started liking it, the first one I remember watching was Fast 5. I remember watching that with my dad when I was 13, and I was like, this could actually be a pretty good franchise. And I watched all of them, and there are some that I don't like Tokyo Drift. I mean, in particular, I don't really like all that much. 4 was okay. 2, the first one in particular was good for what it was. 2 was fine. 3 was, I don't know what they were trying to do with 3. 4 was okay. 5 was awesome. 6 was fine. 7 is my favorite. It's when it comes to my favorite in the franchise, it's honestly a tie between 5 and 7. And Fate of the Furious, I thought was okay, and that's basically it. And Hobbs and Shaw, I thought was good for what it was. I like The Rock and Jason Statham in that movie. So I like these films for what they are: big, over-the-top action movies that you can just have fun if you just turn your brain off and just get sucked into the action. And for the most part, this is what this film is for me. But when it comes to Fast 9, something about these action sequences, they can get a little bit too over the top and just a little bit silly. I mean, still you have like various car chases throughout most of the movie, and not only that, you have, this is kind of silly but kind of awesome at the same time, where the characters like use like these super magnets and they pull in like dozens of like cars and send them crashing into the bad guys, and I was just like, okay, this is stupid, but I have no choice but to love it because it's just so over the top. And there's even like one moment which I'll get to in a second. I mean, it's not an action sequence. It's not an action sequence per se, but well, like I said, I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, there's just so much in your face, and it's just, it's almost like they jumped way out of reality, because there's barely any tension, and that's one of my biggest issues with the film. Is just like, you have our main characters going through. I mean, they're going through like various car chases and everything, and I mean, you have like dozens of explosions and everything, and just so much in your face. And there's even one moment where Tyrese Gibson, and by the way, when it comes to Tyrese Gibson and Ludacris, I always love the banter between these two. I mean, they work really well as Roman and Tej. Almost every scene with them is great, and especially, I mean, one of my favorite scenes when it comes to their banters is in Furious 7. I mean, if you watched Furious 7, you'll probably know which moment I'm talking about when they're in an airplane and they're about to take off into their cars when they're like thousands of feet in the air and they use parachutes. And of course, Roman and that scene was just terrified. And when it comes to their banter in Fast 9, I like it. And there's even like one moment where I was just like, you really said that line? Where Roman theorizes that they're probably invincible after all this shit that they have gone through. In Fast 5, they had this crazy car chase dragging a bank vault with cables, and that's just like, that's some really crazy shit, and I love that. They stop a tank, they stop an airplane, they've taken down a submarine, and out of all the crazy shit that they have gone through, they're theorizing. I mean, he's theorizing that they're probably invincible, and Ludacris is like, no, we're just probably lucky, and I'm just like, okay. I mean, I'm almost convinced that these people are secretly superheroes because, I mean, this could be a comic book, and it's kind of almost what I would expect if, I mean, if Fast and the Furious was a comic book. I mean, with all of these crazy action sequences, just why wouldn't it become a comic book at this point? But by far, the craziest thing that they did for this movie, and I've I've said this to my friends for a while. I mean, after all the crazy shit that these characters have gone through, they should just go to space. And that's exactly what they did. There's one scene where Roman and Tej, I mean, they're on a rocket. They're on a car attached with some rockets, and I swear to God, they're in orbit. I swear I am not making this up, and I was just bursting with laughter. And there was two people behind me when I was watching the movie. They were like, "Oh my God, they actually did that!" And I was like, "Well, after all the crazy shit that we've seen in these movies, why wouldn't they go to space at this point?" And there's even one moment where a space crew finds them, and when Roman and Chad get out of the car after they complete their mission. I mean, I don't want to get too much in the spoilers, but I do want to address this. I think that this woman was speaking Russian. One of the space crew. She was like, they look like minions because of the suits that they were wearing. And I swear, I was just bursting with laughter. I was just like, oh my God. Oh, this film is a comedy. And I know that this was unintentional, but it's 100% a comedy in my opinion, and it's sort of a guilty pleasure. Now, when it comes to performances, I still like Vin Diesel. There's not much for him to do, but except do like various action sequences. And John Cena, I thought was fine, and the eventual fight that happens between Vin Diesel and John Cena only happens for like 1 minute, and I was just like, come on, I wanted more. I mean, especially the trailers promised us at least like a good fight, but it's nowhere near as badass as the Rock going up against Vin Diesel in Fast Five, or Jason Statham going up against the Rock in Furious 7, or hell, even Vin Diesel fighting Jason Statham in Furious 7. Just like, come on, you could have. I mean, talk about a missed opportunity. A badass looking fight between Vin Diesel and John Cena. We get a decent one, and it's only a minute. Bullshit. Michelle Rodriguez I thought was good as Letty, and seeing her and Dom trying to raise Dom and Elena's son, Brian, it's good to see. I mean, they're exploring more of the family dynamic, more of the family aspects when it comes to the Fast and Furious franchise, because Dom is all about family. I mean, it's always been the big theme for this franchise. I mean, I think it started all the way back with Fast 5. And I love that they're focusing a bit on that. But when it comes to Dom now as a father, we don't really get to see a whole lot of him as a father. We see him and Letty are enjoying their peaceful life until they're like called back into action, and nothing really much happens with him as a family man until like the very end of the movie. And when it comes to other performances, like I mentioned before, Tyrese Gibson and Ludacris are great as always, and I always love the banter between these two characters, and it's just like, I just want a spin-off movie with just Tyrese Gibson and Ludacris. It would just... That's what I want. And Charlize Theron is back as Cypher, and I was expecting her to have like a major role in the movie, and she's there, and... I don't know. It's just... I'm kind of split on Cypher for this film. I mean, she's not awful, nor is she great, but she just serves her purpose as an evil, blonde cyber terrorist with a haircut. And I'm pretty sure this is not a spoiler because it's in the trailers. Han is back, and I'm glad that they gave us an explanation on why he's back. After all the crazy shit, he's not magically resurrected. If they went there, I'm just like, I would have left the theater if that was the case. But, when it comes to Han being back, my biggest issue with this decision on bringing Han back, it almost makes the main character's motivations about going up against Jason Statham in Furious 7 almost completely pointless. And this was made for fan service. I'm pretty sure that is the case. But, I'm just like, okay, you just went a bit too far. We also get flashbacks throughout the movie, mostly focusing on Dom and Jacob back when they were teenagers, and what happened to their father. And I get that this was supposed to create emotional conflict between these characters, and it's brought in even more, especially when they bring Mia into the mix. This is the first time we've seen Mia since Furious 7, and it was good to see her back, but I get what they were trying to do, but how everything goes out, I'm almost split on it, but I don't want to give anything away because major spoilers. So overall, I just thought the movie was a bit disappointing. Sure, it has its guilty pleasure moments, especially with the cartoon action sequences, and I like it for that alone. And a few performances here and there are good, especially Vin Diesel, and especially when it comes to Tyrese Gibson and Ludacris. But that's about it, really. Just like story is almost thrown completely out of the window, and it's just like there's no sense of realism when it comes to the Fast and the Furious franchise anymore, and it feels like a big setup movie for the next two movies because they're planning on making two more sequels, which will eventually end the franchise. Apparently, though, honestly, I think it would have been a lot better if they just ended it with Furious 7. So, if they're going to keep making them, I'm just going to see what else is to come for this franchise. But overall, I just thought it was disappointing. But a few guilty pleasure moments that just had me just bursting out in laughter, just laughing my ass off. But that's about it, really. So I'm going to give Fast 9 a C-. So if you're expecting a Fast and Furious movie that's supposed to be taken seriously and you want to have like the same qualities as like Fast 5 or even Furious 7, then you're going to be disappointed. But if you just want to have like a good time and just enjoy it as a guilty pleasure, go on. You're just going to have a lot of fun, I guarantee it. So, guys, thank you so much as always for watching, and I'll have another video coming up really soon. I'll be doing a video with Sarah from Sarah of Horror we'll be reviewing An American Werewolf in London. So yeah, I can't wait to give that to you guys. So guys, thank you so much as always for watching, and I'm looking forward to doing more videos really soon. And if you want my thoughts on old or new movies, of course, you know where to find me.